is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
In the headlines, first, Venezuela acting President Delcy Rodriguez says releasing Nicolas Maduro is a top priority. The announcement came as she unveiled new funds to rechannel oil wealth, while in Panama, invasion survivors draw haunting parallels to the crisis in Caracas. The United States has formally withdrawn from the World Health Organization. Critics warn that exit could cripple global disease surveillance and health coordination. A diplomatic breakthrough in Abu Dhabi, Russia and the US and Ukraine are set to meet face-to-face for the first trilateral negotiations since the conflict began. Bangladesh begins its first election season since the ouster of Sheikh Hasina. The vote, overseen by Iran or by an interim government, marks a critical turning point for the nation. An impeachment attempt against President Marcos Jr. hits the House. A group of lawyers and former generals formally tried to file the complaint earlier today. Corruption probe at the Bureau of Fire Protection. Nearly 40 personnel, including retired officers, are under investigation, sparking calls for an internal cleansing. And Cha Yun-woo is facing a massive tax bill. The Korean actor is under scrutiny after an audit reportedly resulted in a multi-billion won assessment. I'm Troy Gomez, and Newsline World starts now. In the news, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance stressed the importance of two things: borders and the acquisition of Greenland. Vance said enforcement of borders and control of the Arctic abroad are critical to U.S. national security. Alma Porzuelo will give us a detail.
I'm headed from here to...
Speaking ahead of his visit, Vance said unrest in Minneapolis could be eased if local leaders stop opposing federal immigration enforcement and accepted the need for stronger border control. He argued that the situation in the city is an outlier compared with the rest of the country.
My simple piece of advice to them is going to be, look, if you want to turn down the chaos in Minneapolis, stop fighting immigration enforcement and accept that we have to have a border in this country. It's not that hard.
Vance also highlighted what he described as $18 trillion in new investment commitments, saying,
you know what that means? That means new factories, that means new plants, that means, new oil refineries and new energy facilities in the United States of America. Because for so long, our government had the policy that we were going to invest in other countries. No. We want other countries to invest right here in the United States of America.
On foreign policy, Vance insisted that Greenland is strategically important to the United States, linking Arctic security directly to America's missile defense capabilities. He warned that increased interest from rival powers could weaken U.S. national security.
Simple fact is, Greenland matters to American national security because our entire missile defense relies on security in the Arctic. This is something the media who's obsessed with Greenland, they completely forget why Greenland matters. But what if a foreign country launched a missile at the United States of America? We would need control over the Arctic in order to shoot that missile down. Our entire missile defense system depends on that Arctic security. If they want to control that facility, they want to control that island, that landmass. That would make us weaker, that would make our country more endangered. That would mean that if the president is negotiating with a foreign leader, he would have less leverage because they would be able to realistically threaten the sovereignty and the territorial safety of the United States of America.
Vance said negotiations with NATO and Denmark are ongoing, adding the Arctic security is not only vital to the United States, but to global stability as well. Reporting for Newsline World, Almar Porzuelo, SMNI News.
Meanwhile, Bangladesh has officially entered election season as campaigning began for the nation's first parliamentary polls since the ouster of Sheikh Hasina. The vote, overseen by the interim government, represents a pivotal turning point for the South Asian nation. Joy Tabanao reports.
The streets of Dhaka were flooded with green and white on Thursday as thousands of supporters gathered for the official launch of the Jamaat-e-Islami election campaign. The event marks the formal start of a high-stakes race for 300 parliamentary seats, with over 127 million voters eligible to cast their ballots on February 12. This election is historic not only for being the first since the 2024 uprising, but also for the absence of the Awami League, which remains banned from participating. Supporters at the rally expressed a deep desire for a new political era focused on safety, economic freedom, and the total removal of the corruption that defined previous years.
নির্ভয়ে আমাদের মা বোন যাতে চলাফেরা করতে পারে, ব্যবসায়ীরা ব্যবসা করতে পারে, শিক্ষার্থীরা পড়াশোনা করতে পারে, হ্যাঁ ওইভাবে যাতে কোনো চাঁদাবাজি মুক্ত, সন্ত্রাস মুক্ত এবং কি আপনার সমস্ত জোর জুলুম মুক্ত দেশ চাই আমরা।
While the atmosphere in the capital was festive, underlying tensions remain as opposition leaders raise alarms over the safety of their activists. Other participants reported instances of sudden attacks and harassment, questioning whether the law enforcement authorities can ensure a truly free and fair process. The interim administration of Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus has vowed to protect the integrity of the vote, which will also include a landmark referendum on constitutional reforms known as the July Charter. As the major players, including the BNP and the newly formed National Citizen Party, hit the campaign trail, the focus remains on the millions of young voters who spearheaded the revolution.
আমরা আসলে যে গত ফেসিস্টকে আমরা আন্দোলনের মাধ্যমে ফেসিস্টকে দেশ থেকে তাড়ানোর আমরা দেশ থেকে তাড়াতে পারছি। তো তার জন্য আমরা এই ফেসিস্ট সরকার আমরা চাই না। ভবিষ্যতে চাঁদাবাজ, ফেসিস্ট, দুর্নীতি, কারো প্রতি চোখ রাঙানো এরকম সরকার আমরা চাই না। কারো উপর কেউ দাবেদারি করুক সেটা আমরা চাই না। সবাই মানুষের মতো, মানুষ যাতে সবার সাথে সবাই সৌহার্দ্যপূর্ণ আচরণ করতে পারে, আমরা এরকম সরকার আমরা ভবিষ্যতে চাচ্ছি।
With less than 3 weeks until the polls, all eyes are on Bangladesh to see if this transition will finally lead to a stable future. Joy Tabanao, your citizen correspondent reporting for Newsline World.
South Korea's stock market is making history with the Kospi reaching 5,000 points as optimism grows over political stability and economic recovery. Val de Vinagracia tells us more.
For the first time, South Korea's benchmark Kospi index broke over 5,000 points on Thursday as technology stocks rallied. The milestone reflects growing investor confidence fueled by political stability, improving diplomacy, and strengthening industrial competitiveness. Market screens across Seoul showed broad gains led by heavyweight semiconductor stocks.
예, 지금 우리나라가 우선 국정이 안정되고 그다음에 외교도 잘하고 우리나라 갖고 있는 산업 경쟁력이 굉장히 지금 돋보이는 시대인 것 같습니다. 그래서 앞으로도 굉장히 좀 좋지 않을까 이렇게 기대해 봅니다.
Retail investors say the rally is boosting national morale, with some predicting further gains if current momentum continues.
예, 나라를 위해서 정말 잘된 일이라고 생각합니다. 모든 국민들이 다 함께 축하하고 감사할 일이죠. 정말 이렇게 되면 이재명 정권 마지막쯤에 10,000포인트까지도 가지 않을까 그렇게 기대됩니다.
Despite mixed performance in individual stocks, many investors say overall returns have improved through funds, reinforcing expectations of an economic recovery.
소감이요? 좋죠. 지금 전체적으로 그 경기에 대한 활성화 기대도 있고 또 사람들이 일단 기분이 좋은 것 같아요. 저부터도 문영호는 개별 주식에서는 별로 이득을 못 보고 있는데 그 펀드나 이런 쪽에서는 또 이득을 보고 있어서 그런 점에 있어서는 기대치가 있어서 좋습니다.
While semiconductors continue to lead the market, investors are hoping the rally broadens to other sectors.
여기에 따라서 개별 종목들이 좀 더 앞으로 추세적으로 올라가지 않을까 그런 기대를 해보고 있습니다. 전체적으로 뭐 바이오주라든지 이제 지금은 반도체 주가 견인하고 있다면 다음에는 이제 다른 주식들도 좀 같이 올라가줬으면 좋겠다 이런 기대를 하고 있습니다.
Analysts say sustaining the rally will depend on global market conditions and whether gains can spread beyond Korea's technology sector. Reporting for Newsline World, this is Valdivina Grosha, SMNA News.
Up next, an impeachment attempt against President Marcos Jr. hits the House of Representatives. A group of lawyers and former generals formally tried to file the complaint earlier today. And corruption probe at the Bureau of Fire Protection. Nearly 40 personnel, including retired officers, are under investigation, sparking calls for an internal cleansing. More news when Newsline World returns.
Sa kabila ng mga mas modernong kaalaman at teknolohiya, nananatiling matindi ang banta ng HIV sa Pilipinas. Pero gaano nga ba kalala ang sitwasyon? Ang HIV o Human Immunodeficiency Virus ay isang sakit na sumisira sa immune system ng katawan. Ngunit tandaan, hindi ito nakukuha sa simpleng pakikisalamuha. Hindi mo agad mararamdaman, pero unti-unti nitong pinapahina ang katawan. At kapag hindi naagapan, humahantong ito sa AIDS, ang huling yugto na impeksyon, kung saan halos wala ng panlaban ng katawan laban sa sakit. Patuloy na dumadami ang kaso ng sakit na ito sa Pilipinas. Isang nakababahalang pagtaas. Umabot na sa 500% ang itinaas ng HIV cases sa mga kabataang edad 15 hanggang 25. Ayon mismo sa Department of Health, 56 na bagong kaso ang naitatala kada araw sa bansa mula Enero hanggang Marso 2025. At ang pinakamatinding apektado, ang kalalakihan at kabataang Pilipino. Dahil dito, ang Pilipinas na ngayon ang may pinakamataas na bilang ng bagong kaso ng HIV sa buong Western Pacific region. Isang indikasyon ng lumulubahang sitwasyon. Kaya nananawagan ng Department of Health gawing opisyal at urgent ang laban sa HIV sa pamamagitan ng isang Public Health Emergency Declaration. Kalalakihan ng pangunahing apektado. 95% ng bagong kaso ay lalaki. Mahigit 1/3 ay kabataang nasa edad 15 hanggang 24. Habang wala pang deklarasyon, patuloy ang DOH sa mga sumusunod na hakbang: HIV testing, libreng gamot, self-test kits, at pakikipagtulungan sa DepEd para sa edukasyon sa mga paaralan. Isinulong rin ng DOH ang online patient appointment system para sa HIV patients. Layunin nitong gawing mas madali at mas personal ang pag-access sa libreng gamutan at konsultasyon ayon sa schedule ng pasyente. Ang HIV ay hindi tulad ng flu. Hindi ito basta naipapasa sa hangin. Ito ay naipapasa sa pamamagitan ng personal na desisyon. Kailangan din nating pagtuunan ng pansin ang ugali, disiplina, at personal na responsibilidad. Isang paalala mula sa SMNI.
Pasasaan pa ang kalayaan kung ang mga alipin ngayon ay sila din naman mang-aalipin bukas.
Ibigin mo ang iyong bayan ng sunod kay Bathala, sa iyong kapurihan at higit sa lahat sa iyong sarili.
Hindi natin mapapalaya ang ating mga sarili maliban kung sumulong tayo na nagkakaisa sa iisang hangarin.
Ang tunay na makabayan ay ang tumutupad ng pagpapabuti ng kanyang mga kapwa, gaano man kaaba ang kanyang katungkulan. Naway magsilbing paalala ang kanilang mga salita upang lalo nating mahalin at tapat na paglingkuran ang minamahal nating inang bayan.
We're back with more news. The first impeachment complaint filed at the House of Representatives against President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. is dismissible. The reasons behind the move are detailed in this report by MJ Montejan.
Attorney Harold Respicio believes that the impeachment case filed in the House of Representatives against Philippine President Bongbong Marcos is weak. In an interview with SMNI, Attorney Respicio, who currently serves as Vice Mayor of Reyna Mercedes Town in Isabela, asserted that the grounds for impeachment stated in the complaint are extremely short, including that the grounds are the controversial 60 billion fund transfer to PhilHealth, issues of corruption and program items in the 2023 to 2025 national budget, and the allegation of substance use or cocaine use by the president. Earlier, presidential sister and Senator Amy Marcos admitted the alleged drug addict issue involving her brother PBBM. Also included in the grounds is what the complainant described as the kidnapping and surrender of former President Rodrigo Duterte to the ICC, also cited as basis in the alleged creation by PBBM of the Independent Commission for Infrastructure or ICI that were allegedly meant to protect allies involved in corruption. Private lawyer Andre De Jesus filed the impeachment case for alleged graft and corruption, culpable violation of the Constitution, and betrayal of public trust. Pusong Pinoy Party List Representative Jet Nisa endorsed the complaint in the House. The complaint was filed on Monday, January 19. There is the explanation of Attorney Respicio, who is among those set to file a new impeachment case against the president.
Kaso nga lang itong complaint na ito ay napaka-iksi. Paano naman tayo makakaasa na paa-andarin yan at bibigyan yan ng panahon? Kung napaka-iksi din lang, wala kang space para magbigay ng maayos na narration of facts, maglagay ng attachments. Siyempre, binibigyan mo lang ng dahilan yung Committee on Justice na i-dismiss yung final mo na complaint. Obviously, yun naman ang ginagawa nila para kapag may file at ma-dismiss, hindi na pwedeng mag-file ulit ng susunod na impeachment complaint.
Reporting for Newsline World, this has been MJ Mondehan, SMNA News.
Did an impeachment bid against President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. move forward at the House of Representatives? A group of lawyers, former generals, and congressmen tried to file the complaint. Here's what happened in this report by MJ Mondehan.
Kanina, naunang nag-file yung Makabayan Block ng kanilang impeachment complaint, kaso nga lang hindi tinanggap dahil daw wala si Sec Gen dito. Pero sir, tapos na ang lunch break, bumalik ka na dito at tanggapin mo na ang aming complaint. Hindi mo pwedeng tanggihan ng complaint namin dahil ministerial duty mo yan. Wala kang discretion na mag-decline na tumanggap ng aming complaint.
That footage was taken from the Facebook Live of Attorney Harold Respicio when he joined the filing of the impeachment case against Philippine President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. at the House of Representatives. Joining him in the filing were former Congressmen Mike Defensora and Jing Paras, retired AFP Generals Hermogenes Esperon and Virgilio Garcia, lawyers Ferdinand Topacio and Manny Luna, former Ilocos Sur Governor Chavit Singson, and other personalities. However, the complaint was not accepted because House Secretary General Cheloy Garafil was reportedly not in her office. The official is allegedly in Taiwan.
Hindi pwedeng hindi tanggapin ang ating complaint dahil kapag hindi tinanggap ngayong araw na ito, ang gagawin nila ay i-forestall nila ang complaint na to at pagbibigyan nila, palusultin nila yung walang kwentang complaint na ipinasa earlier. Sabi ng Supreme Court, hindi nila pwedeng sabihin na merong prior complaint na ipinasa na para tanggihan ng aming complaint dahil ang complaint ay initiated lamang kapag na-refer na sa committee ang complaint. Hindi pa na-refer sa committee. Magko-convene pa lang ang Congress, House of Representatives sa Monday. At pwede pa nilang tanggapin ang aming complaint.
Because of this, the group insisted that the refusal to perform the ministerial duty of accepting the impeachment case indicates that the first impeachment complaint filed against the president was already prearranged. Last Monday, January 19th, lawyer Andre De Jesus filed an impeachment case against the Philippine president over alleged graft and corruption, culpable violation of the Constitution, and betrayal of public trust. House Deputy Minority Leader and Pusong Pinoy Party List Representative Jet Nisay endorsed the complaint at the House. However, doubts surround the case because the complainant, Attorney De Jesus, was allegedly a former lawyer of First Lady Liza Marcos.
Kung Mike, for the 5,000 watching live, anong statement natin?
Well, una sa lahat, si Atty. was kind enough to come here and sabihin niya na hindi niya kayang tanggapin. So, itong opisina to kasi hindi naman tao but na office. Sa saligang batas, kailangan tanggapin talaga. And ito papakita lang na talagang yung na impeachment ay kalokohan at gusto nilang babuyin ang ating proseso ng saligang batas sa impeachment. Ito lang ang pagkakataon ng tao magreklamo, hindi pa pinayagan.
SMNI News has already sought a reaction from Secretary General Garafil, but she has yet to issue a statement. SMNI News remains open to her side. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been MJ Mondihar, SMNI News.
Meanwhile, the Philippine Senate is examining a corporation after it was identified as a possible key in linking a luxury property in Forbes Park to former House Speaker Martin Romualdez. Faith Agustin reports.
A significant lead has surfaced in the investigation into the purchase of a house in Forbes Park, Makati City that could possibly connect former Speaker Martin Romualdez to the property. According to Navota's representative Toby Tiangco, the house at 30 Tamarind Street has long been mentioned as being linked to Romualdez, but in the past there was no clear evidence. During the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing last Monday, Tiangco said that Senator Ping Lacson identified the actual buyer of the property as Golden Pheasant Corporation, which is owned by attorney Jose Raulito Enoy Paras.
Noong Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing noong Lunes, ang pinakamahalaga doon ay natumbok ni Senator Ping Lacson yung lead na ang bumili ay isang kumpanya na nagpapangalan ng Golden Pheasant Corporation na ang 100% stockholder ng Golden Pheasant Corporation is si Attorney Jose Raulito Enoy Paras na yung Jose Raulito Enoy Paras may connections talaga si former Speaker Martin Romualdez.
According to Tiangco, this is a very important lead that could link Romualdez to the house, which has been alleged to have been used as a cash warehouse in anomalous flood control kickbacks.
So ngayon, unti-unti nang napagduda dahil yung Jose Raulito Enoy Paras konektado kay former Speaker. So makikita na natin kung ano yung mga ano. Because he is a director in corporations connected kay former Speaker Martin Romualdez. So may link na ngayon. So yun ang lead ni Senator Ping.
Attorney Paras is expected to be invited to the next hearing to clarify his role in the company's link to Romualdez. Tiangco said this would help the Senate and prosecution agencies in the ongoing investigation into the alleged anomalies in flood control projects. This is Faith Agustin, your citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
Nearly 40 personnel of the Bureau of Fire Protection, including several retired officers, are under investigation for alleged corruption spanning several years. Amid the controversy, BFP leadership says it is time for reform and internal cleansing. Here's a report by Paul Montibon.
Allegations of corruption have rocked the Bureau of Fire Protection, prompting a major investigation into its ranks. According to the Interior and Local Government Secretary John Vic Remulla, the ongoing investigation is part of the government's broader campaign for institutional reform and accountability within the Bureau of Fire Protection. At the New Year's call held at Camp Crame, Remulla stressed the need to separate the institution from the few personnel allegedly involved in corruption. The situation within the agency has earlier been described as an organized crime syndicate, a system that gradually expanded and persisted over several years. In response, the Bureau of Fire Protection has voiced its full support for Secretary Remulla's call for reform. Among the BFP's immediate measures are full cooperation with the ongoing investigations, the mandatory use of body-worn cameras, and the more aggressive implementation of BFPE complaint system mechanisms aimed at preventing abuse and strengthening transparency in public service. These measures served as the pillars of the agency's internal cleansing and integrity monitoring program. As the investigation continues, the stance of both the government and the Bureau of Fire Protection remains clear. There is no room for corruption in the security service. Looking ahead, reforms are moving forward to strengthen the agency and restore the trust of the Filipino people. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, reporting for Newsline World, this has been Paul Montibon, SMNI News.
When we return, Venezuela Acting President Delcy Rodriguez says releasing Nicolas Maduro is a top priority. The announcement came as she unveiled new funds to rechannel oil wealth while in Panama, invasion survivors draw haunting parallels to the crisis in Caracas. The United States has formally withdrawn from the World Health Organization. Critics warn the exit could cripple global disease surveillance and health coordination. And a diplomatic breakthrough in Abu Dhabi. Russia, the US, and Ukraine are set to meet face-to-face for the first trilateral negotiations since the conflict began. More news after the break.
Isang pindot lang, pwede kang maka-jackpot. Mukhang masaya at easy money lang. Sa murang halaga, pwede ka na tumaya sa online gambling at e-casino apps. Mayroong sabong, slot machines, mahjong, poker at iba pa. Kailangan mo lang ng smartphone, e-wallet at internet. Pero ang aliw na ito, unti-unting nagiging bitag para sa mga Pilipino. Lalo na kung ang paborito mong artista o influencer ang mukha ng app. Mas madaling makaengganyo, diba? Parang safe naman kasi may kilalang mukha. Pero sa likod ng ngiti, sugal pa rin ang itinutulak. At syempre, mas madali ring itago ang pagkalulong sa bisyong ito. Walang pisikal na kasino o pasugalan, walang kaharap, walang accountability, kaya't mas lumalala ang adiksyon. Dagdag pa rito, maraming online gambling apps at walang regulasyon. Sa likod ng mga makukulay na interface at papremyo, nakatago ang problemang bumabalot ngayon sa bansa. Ang pagkalulong ng maraming Pilipino sa online gambling. Pwede maglaro kahit saan, kahit kailan, kahit sino, bata man o matanda, pwedeng malulong. Ayon sa mga eksperto, ang pagkakalulong sa online gambling ay nagdudulot ng matinding stress at anxiety, pagkakabaon sa utang, pagkawasak ng pamilya, pagkawala ng tiwala sa sarili. At tulad ng ibang bisyo, may mga senyales ito tulad ng hindi makapagpigil kahit walang pera, palihim na tumataya, pagpapabaya sa trabaho, pamilya o sarili. Sa bawat taya, may mga taong tunay na kumikita, mga malalaking negosyante at investors na negosyo ang bisyo ng masa. Para sa kanila, perang pumapasok lang ito. Pero para sa ordinaryong Pilipino, kabuhayan at relasyon ang nauubos. At ang masakit, tila matagal itong nahayaan. Hindi ito naging prioridad ng mga nakaupo sa taas hanggang sa sobrang lumala at halos naapektuhan na ang buong komunidad. Ngayon, sa dami ng nalulong at sa laki ng pinsalang naidulot, saka palalong umugong ang mga panukalang batas para higpitan ng online gambling. Gaya ng pagbabawal sa paggamit ng e-wallets para tumaya, pagtaas ng minimum bet, mas mahigpit na identity verification, pag-block ng mga illegal na gambling sites, at bawasan o ipagbawal ang mga ads na target ang kabataan. Maaari itong magmukhang laro lang, pero sa katotohanan, isa itong sugal sa kinabukasan. Ang kita na dapat sa mga pangunahing pangangailangan o ipon na uubos sa sugal. At sa mundo ng online gambling, mas madali kang matalo kaysa manalo. Huwag hayaang sugal ang magdikta sa iyong buhay. Isang paalala mula sa SMNI.
Hoy, magnanakaw! Tingnan! Pulis ka! Hala, magnanakaw!
Magnanakaw! Magnanakaw!
Hoy, magnanakaw!
Magnanakaw! Magnanakaw!
Ano kayang gagawin ko? Ipamimigay ko yung konti para tumigil sila sa pag-iingay.
Pare, magnanakaw, namimigay ng pera.
Eto ang sayo.
Wow! Ang bait ng magnanakaw!
Eto naman sayo.
Kuya, yung share
eto
ko! Sana
Huwag ka nang maingay. Eto pa. Tama na yan. Nakikipalato lang kayo eh. Huwag nang maingay. Diba? Konti lang pinamigay ko, mabait na ako. Tahimik na sila, easy. Ngayon, pwede ko na tong suluhin.
Masaya ang mga tao, pero tama po ba ito? Di po ba ang nakikinabang sa magnanakaw ay kasabwat ng magnanakaw?
Ikaw, kinukonsenti mo ba ang legal na korupsyon?
Ikaw ba ay namomroblema sa taas ng electric bill buwan-buwan? Huwag mag-alala, narito ang ilang paraan upang makatipid sa kuryente. Patayin ang mga ilaw at appliances kapag hindi ginagamit. Sa halip ay gumamit ng natural na liwanag upang makatipid sa kuryente. Tanggalin sa saksakan ang mga appliances kung hindi ginagamit. Iwasan ang paggamit ng maraming appliances ng sabay-sabay. Gumamit ng LED bulbs. Ito ay mas tipid sa kuryente kumpara sa mga incandescent at fluorescent bulbs. Regular na linisin ang mga appliances tulad ng electric fan, aircon vents at refrigerator. Magkaroon ng takdang araw sa isang linggo sa pamamalansya at paglalaba. Gumamit ng energy-efficient appliances. Tandaan, maging wais sa paggamit ng kuryente upang makatipid para mas gumaan ang buhay. Ang paalalang ito ay hatid sa inyo ng SMNI.
Maging alerto at handa tuwing may bagyo. Upang manatiling ligtas, narito ang ilang mahahalagang paalala. Manatili sa loob ng bahay. Iwasan ang paglabas, lalo na kung malakas ang ulan at hangin. Mag-imbak ng pagkain at malinis na tubig. Maghanda ng emergency kit. Manatiling updated sa lagay ng panahon. Maghanda ng mga flashlight at extra baterya. Panatilihing fully charged ang iyong cellphone. I-secure ang mahahalagang dokumento sa waterproof na lalagyan. Patayin ang kuryente, gas at tubig kung may banta ng pagbaha. Alamin ang iyong local emergency hotlines. Putulin o tapyasan ang mga sanga ng puno na maaaring mabuwal sa malakas na ulan at hangin. Lumikas agad kung inabisuhan ng mga otoridad. Maging ligtas at maging handa sa panahon ng kalamidad. Ang paalalang ito ay hatid sa inyo ng SMNI.
Maging ligtas, maging handa. Narito ang ilang paalala kung sakaling tumama ang lindol. Maghanda ng emergency kits na may lamang flashlight, pito, first aid kit, tubig at pagkain. Alamin ang emergency exits sa inyong bahay, paaralan o opisina. Habang lumilindol, magtago sa ilalim ng matibay na lamesa upang maprotektahan ang sarili sa mga nahuhulog na bagay. Lumayo sa mga bintana at mabibigat na gamit na maaaring mahulog. Kung ikaw ay nasa labas, lumayo sa mga gusali, puno o poste na maaaring matumba. Kung ikaw ay nagmamaneho, itabi at ihinto ang sasakyan at lumabas. Pagkatapos ng lindol, gamitin ang hagdan sa paglabas ng gusali at huwag gumamit ng elevator. Maging alerto sa aftershocks at manatili sa open space kung kinakailangan. Maging ligtas at maging handa sa anumang sakuna. Ang paalalang ito ay hatid sa inyo ng SMNI.
The United States has formally withdrawn from the World Health Organization, a move critics warn could undermine global health coordination and disease surveillance. Faith Agustin has the news.
After nearly 8 decades, the United States has formally withdrawn from the World Health Organization, ending nearly 8 decades of membership in the UN's global health body. The decision follows a year-long withdrawal process initiated by President Donald Trump shortly after returning to office, citing what his administration described as failures in the WHO's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. The U.S. was among the founding members of the World Health Organization in 1948 and has historically been its largest financial contributor. U.S. officials say the country will no longer participate in WHO programs and has no plans to rejoin or even remain involved as an observer. Instead, the administration says it will pursue bilateral cooperation with other nations on public health and disease monitoring. At the United Nations, officials confirmed the U.S. has not settled outstanding dues but stressed that the organization would continue its work.
I think that we've made clear that we are doing our utmost to improve how the UN works so it works well for all stakeholders. The Secretary General, as you know, has launched the UN aide initiative designed to increase the efficiency of the UN. Beyond that, what I can tell you is that the UN will continue to relentlessly work for peace, in full respect for international law, and with a comprehensive effort to address the root causes of conflict to ensure sustainable solutions for peace.
U.S. law requires a 1-year notice period and the settlement of outstanding financial commitments before withdrawing from the World Health Organization. Obligations estimated at roughly $260 million. U.S. officials, however, dispute that settling those arrears is illegally required, saying Washington has already provided more than its fair share of funding to the agency. Public health experts have warned that Washington's withdrawal could weaken global disease monitoring and disrupt health programs worldwide. It could also diminish U.S. global influence and leave it more vulnerable to pandemics.
Global health is national policy and national security. It's a national security issue because the World Health Organization is critical for disease surveillance, things like updating vaccine standards, sharing data. And without that, the United States is vulnerable. We're vulnerable to pandemics. We're vulnerable to infectious diseases that can surge here in America. When we pull out, when the United States pulls out, we're less prepared. We're literally less prepared for a pandemic. We have less access to critical data that can inform our public health policy. For these reasons, this is why we become more vulnerable to the threats of a future pandemic.
The WHO faces significant funding gaps following the U.S. departure as uncertainty grows over how global health efforts will be financed going forward. This has been Faith Agustin, your citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
Venezuela's acting president Delcy Rodriguez has declared the release of captured leader Nicolas Maduro as a top priority for the year, while unveiling new sovereign funds to rechannel oil wealth. Meanwhile, in Panama City, survivors of the 1989 U.S. invasion are drawing haunting parallels to the recent events in Caracas. Jane Cudnita has a story.
Acting President Delcy Rodriguez boldly declared that she will rescue Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores, declaring the objective as non-negotiable.
Lograr el rescate del presidente y de la primera combatienta. Nosotros estamos en un proceso de diálogo, de trabajo con los Estados Unidos, sin temor alguno, a encarar las diferencias, las dificultades, las más sensibles y las menos sensibles, a encararlas por la vía de la diplomacia.
Rodriguez made the declaration inside the Miraflores Palace, wherein she presided over the Federal Government Council, charting a path for a nation still reeling from the January 3rd U.S. military operation. Rodriguez confirmed she has received support from Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel while announcing 2 new sovereign funds that will use oil revenues for social protection and public infrastructure. But as Caracas pursues a fragile diplomacy with Washington, the weight of history is being felt nearly 500 miles away. In Panama City, residents and veterans gathered to commemorate the 1989 invasion, warning that the recent U.S. strikes in Venezuela mirrored the same pattern used to topple Manuel Noriega. Sociologists and survivors alike criticized what they called a brazen update to the Monroe Doctrine, aimed at controlling strategic natural resources under the guise of democracy.
Un elemento común es el uso de la acusación de narcotráfico contra los gobernantes del país para justificar, entre comillas, la invasión extranjera. Se utilizó contra Noriega en 1989 en Panamá y ahora se ha utilizado contra Nicolás Maduro en Venezuela.
As Rodriguez calls for a popular consultation this March, the region remains on edge, caught between a new political reality and the long shadows of the past. This has been Jane Cudnita, Global Citizen Correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
Meanwhile, Russia says negotiations involving Moscow, Washington, and Kiev will meet face-to-face for the first time in a trilateral format, with talks scheduled to take place in Abu Dhabi. Kremlin aide Yuri Ushkov confirmed the development after President Vladimir Putin held nearly 4 hours of talks with senior U.S. envoys at the Kremlin. Ushakov called the discussion substantive, constructive, and extremely candid.
Трехсторонние рабочие группы – это значит представители России, США и Украины. Наряду с этим, там же в Абу-Даби, встретятся и руководители двусторонней группы по экономическим делам. Это уже двусторонняя группа, то есть Россия и США. Кирилл Дмитриев и Стив Уитков.
According to Ushakov, the trilateral meeting will focus on security issues and will be led by Russia's military intelligence chief, Admiral Igor Kostyukov. He said the Russian delegation has received direct instructions from President Putin and expected to fly to the United Arab Emirates shortly. Ushakov also confirmed that separate bilateral talks between Russia and the United States will also take place in Abu Dhabi, focusing on economic relations. He said Putin and U.S. envoys discussed proposals for a peace council, as well as a possible use of frozen Russian assets for post-war reconstruction if a peace agreement is reached.
На встрече в Кремле были также обсуждены инициативы Дональда Трампа о создании Совета мира, а также целый ряд региональных вопросов и ситуация вокруг Гренландии. При обмене мнениями по Совету мира была акцентирована наша готовность направить бюджет этой структуры $1 миллиард из замороженных еще в прежней администрации США российских активов. Остальные же средства из наших замороженных США резервов можно было направить на восстановление территорий, пострадавших в ходе боевых действий уже после заключения мирного договора между Россией и Украиной. Разговор по этой теме будет продолжен в двусторонней экономической группе.
There has been no immediate response from Ukrainian officials as of now, while Washington has yet to publicly confirm its participation in the trilateral meeting. Meanwhile, the aftermath of the massive protest in Iran left severe damage to public property. In Tehran, at least 22 buses were set on fire during violent incidents in District 4. Authorities also reported that some individuals set fire to public buildings and religious sites amid unrest in the capital. Paul Montibon will give us more details.
Buses and other public properties. Tehran officials described the incidents as highly coordinated and professional in nature. Mayor of Tehran's District 4 said 12 buses in the district were set on fire, and across the city around 22 buses suffered similar attacks.
در منطقه 4 همونجوری که پشت سر بنده مشاهده می‌کنید 12 دستگاه اتوبوس خسارت جدی دید و به آتش کشیده شد. در کل شهر تهران آمارهایی که بنده اطلاع دارم حدود 22 دستگاه اتوبوس آتش گرفت توسط تروریست‌های مسلح و برآورد ریالی خسارت به اتوبوس‌ها حدود 500 میلیارد تومان.
Meanwhile, the director of District 3 of Tehran's bus company described disturbing scenes of extreme violence.
اتوبوس‌های ما رو ترددش رو مختل کردن، نرده‌ها رو شکوندن، ریختن جلوی راه اتوبوس‌ها، سطل آشغالا رو جلوی راه اتوبوس‌ها آتش زدن و راه رو با تهدید راننده رو از ماشین به زور پیاده کردن، مسافرها رو پیاده کردن، راه رو بستن و نذاشتن اتوبوس تردد بکنه. چند نفر آدمی که قیافشون با معترضین کلا فرق میکرد، ما اونا رو جزء آدمای معترض نمیدونیم، اونا هم سر و وضعشون پوشونده شده بود، هم اقداماتی که میکردن کاملا آموزش دیده بودن. راننده رو جفت پاشو گرفتن کشیدن پایین، تهدیدش کردن با چاقو و ماشین رو در عرض 2 دقیقه آتش زدن. کل ماشین در عرض 2 دقیقه آتش گرفت، یعنی کاملا تخصصی.
Karimpur, Deputy Director of Transportation and Traffic, reported additional destruction to infrastructure, including traffic lights, bus station shelters, and BRT fences. City authorities have confirmed that work is underway to rebuild affected structures, restore damaged infrastructure, and return neighborhoods to normalcy. Officials say the city is working to restore normal bus services while investigating the attacks. Authorities continue to monitor the situation closely as Tehran works to repair both the physical and social impact of the unrest. For God of my beloved country, the Philippines, reporting for Newsline World, this has been Paul Montebon, SMNI News.
Meanwhile, Korean actor Cha Yun-woo is under scrutiny after reports emerge of a tax audit resulting in a multi-billion won assessment. Meanwhile, K-pop superstar Rain has issued an apology following a misunderstanding with a fan at a concert. Blake Ann will give us the details.
South Korean actor and singer Cha Yun-woo is facing allegations of tax evasion amounting to more than 20 billion won, or about $13.6 million, according to reports citing the National Tax Service. The allegations are linked to a company reportedly established by his mother. The National Tax Service is said to have issued a tax assessment to Cha, whose legal name is Lee Dong-min, following a tax audit conducted last year. Reports say the audit took place ahead of Cha's scheduled mandatory military enlistment in July 2025. No further details have been publicly disclosed regarding the outcome of the assessment or whether legal action will follow. Cha Yun-woo's agency has yet to issue an official statement on the matter. K-pop star Rain has issued an apology following a misunderstanding with a fan who is hard of hearing at his recent concert in Taipei, Taiwan. The 43-year-old singer, whose real name is Jung Ji-hoon, performed his Still Raining encore show at the Taipei Arena. During the event, a female fan known only as Chi Chi on social media platform Threads shared her experience of the incident on January 19. Rain has publicly apologized to the fan, addressing the situation and clarifying the misunderstanding. Details about the exact nature of the incident have not been fully disclosed, but both the fan and artist have engaged with the matter on social media. The apology comes amid growing attention on how performers interact with fans with disabilities during live events. And that's all for now. I'm Blake Ann, bringing you the latest showbiz.
And for our good news, the Nashville Zoo welcomed their first ever baby aardvark calf, a rare and joyful arrival that the zoo staff and animal lovers celebrating. Stella Maris shares us this story.
Early in the morning at 6:06 a.m. January 1st, the Nashville Zoo welcomed a tiny aardvark calf measuring about 19 inches long and weighing around 4 pounds at birth. This special arrival marks the zoo's first successful aardvark birth and only the 34th such birth at an Association of Zoos and Aquariums accredited facility in the United States. Born to proud parents Karanga and Winslow, the newborn and his mother are both reported to be healthy and are being lovingly cared for behind the scenes by the zoo's dedicated animal care team. The zoo celebrates this milestone as an important step in understanding and conserving a species that is seldom seen up close due to its nocturnal and burrowing lifestyle. Officials say the calf may eventually be relocated to another accredited zoo to continue contributing to the species population and research. Adding to the excitement, the Nashville Zoo shared a video on its official Instagram account, giving the public a glimpse of the adorable newborn, affectionately referred to as Happy, moving around and bonding with its mother. The video quickly delighted viewers, showcasing the calf's early moments and spreading smiles among animal lovers worldwide. This delightful New Year's arrival has captured hearts, proving that precious moments can come in all shapes and sizes, even as a wrinkly, rolling pin-sized bundle of joy. This is Stella Maris, your citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the words of the sun. Do what is right, defend what is right, die for what is right. And that's all for today's edition of Newsline World. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, I'm Chart Gomez. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.